your Japan Real Estate Proxy. We basically have been at it for 14 years. This is our very first live video though. And we've been helping people with anything to do with Japan real estate. So we're not realtors, we're not property managers, we're definitely not accountants, but we will A, connect you with all of these, and B, guide you on everything along the journey. So we help people buy, sell, manage any kind of real estate anywhere in Japan for whatever purpose. We've been at it for a while, and we'd love to answer any of your questions. We do that every day on a regular basis. We have initial meetings with customers and advise them on whether their strategy is feasible or not, or suggest different kinds of strategy. We would then help them navigate the purchase process, raise red flags, do everything on their behalf, or consult them as they work with property professionals in Japan. Most of our work is related to investment properties, but we also do quite a bit of akiyas. We help people buy holiday homes, family homes if they're moving to Japan. And then post-purchase, if they are not here physically to manage the properties themselves, then we also manage them on their behalf. So if you're not a resident, you don't have a bank account in Japan, you don't have address certificates, all the documents that Japanese professionals and third parties like to see, then we can also receive and pay your utility bills and your taxes, organize cleaning, gardening if it's a holiday home, deal with the property managers who are dealing with the tenants on your behalf. So again, NTI, this is what we do. We are your one-stop shop for anything to do with Japan real estate. We'd love to take your questions if you have them, but we also have some that we've pre-prepared in advance.
All right, first question. Airbnb is very popular now. Airbnb Minpaku versus long-term rentals.
So those two are very different in their potential, but also in their hands-on involvement. So if you've got a long-term tenant in Japan, that's usually a 2-year rolling lease, meaning it will renew every 2 years unless one of the parties notifies the others that they don't want to continue. And that's kind of like a monthly paycheck. So you know approximately or exactly how much you'll be receiving in rent every month. You know approximately or exactly how much your monthly expenses are going to be. If you own the entire structure, there will be some unexpected expenses like structural maintenance and repairs, but generally speaking, it's a cash flow play. You buy a property, in many of the cases it's going to be already tenanted, what they call turnkey in Japan, and you just collect the rent amount every month and deal with problems if and when they occur, which is usually not that often. Japanese tenants like to be left alone. They're not going to bother you with all kinds of claims and requests and weird complaints. And you're basically just banking money every month, but the yield is quite low. So depending on where in Japan you're purchasing, it'll normally be somewhere from, let's say, central Tokyo, 2 or 3% net before tax, all the way up to prefectural capitals or satellite cities, bedroom communities. It can go up to maybe 6 or 7% net before tax if you're lucky. And that's the kind of stable, semi-passive investment that a lot of our customers go for. Minpaku, on the other hand, which we do handle here at NTI, fluctuate a lot. They can be seasonal, so you're essentially buying a property, renting it out by the day or by the week to short-term stay guests, like everything you see on Airbnb or Booking.com. When they are done very well and very smoothly operated and managed to the best of the property manager's ability, if they are a good property manager, and if you bought in a good location and the property is attractive to short-term stay guests, and that's a whole different science, then they could potentially ideally double your yield, but they are a lot more hands-on. You got people moving in, you got people moving out, you got a lot more complaints from guests or neighbors or the local municipality. There's license compliance, all kinds of things that come along with it. So that's a more feasible investment route for people who want to be more hands-on, who like to be involved, who like creative strategies and tweaking their investment to the best of their ability, experimenting and so forth. But again, they're very involved and they are far less stable. So a quick reminder, Nippon Tradings International, NTI, we are your Japan real estate proxy, one-stop shop, anything to do with Japanese real estate. Feel free to hit us with your questions. We are here to answer anything you want. We've been at it for 14, going on 15 years now, and we love what we do. Next question, please.
Negotiating price in Japan, how is it different?
So Japan is not a very hagglish negotiating kind of business environment. Normally properties here are listed at reasonable market prices. If some seller is still living in bubble days and thinks they can get more, then the agents will let them list for whatever they want, but they will always be recommending what a reasonable market price is, and that's the price that the property is going to be listed at. So negotiations of up to 10% of the listed price, maybe 15% if it's a vacant property and the rent can't be accurately assessed before a tenant moves in, then you might be able to offer 15%. That offer will likely be refused if the property is already yielding a good rental income, and if it's in a good location in a good city and the seller knows that they'll get their asking price or closer to it, then that's probably going to be rejected. If you offer anything below 10-15%, it's very likely that you're just going to be, best case scenario, just ghosted or ignored because you're not going to be taken seriously. And we have actually had some agents and sellers get offended by a lowball offer and refuse to speak to us or anyone representing any foreigners ever again. It's just not done here. Yeah. Again, Nippon Trading International, NTI, one-stop shop for anything to do with Japan real estate, and we are here to answer your questions.
People say Japanese houses lose value over time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the structure definitely loses value over time faster than what you'd expect in other countries. So Japan's, especially wooden structures, are really not built to last, not very durable materials. For various reasons. One, because the housing companies like to sell new houses. Second, because Japanese like everything to be as new or close to new as possible. And thirdly, because of the weather and other natural phenomena in Japan, the earthquakes, the typhoons, there are a lot of factors that play into the durability of the house. From a tax perspective, wooden structures lose their entire value within about 23 years. They are still usable and people definitely don't immediately demolish them at that point in time. But once they hit about 30 or 40 years of age, the maintenance, renovation, repair expenses will escalate very rapidly. Having said all of that, that doesn't mean that your property in its entirety will depreciate over time, because the land is what holds value in Japan, and if you've bought in a good location, the land may or may not appreciate. It's definitely been doing well in all metropolitan centers, and now recently in the rural areas as well, over the last 15 years for metro and the last 2 or 3 years post-COVID for rural areas a little bit as well. So, for example, some of the first properties that we've bought here in Fukuoka City on behalf of ourselves and several of our customers are now 14 years later being sold for more than double the price, actually close to triple the price now. So the properties definitely can appreciate, but the structure itself will depreciate very rapidly over time. Nippon Trading's International, NTI, here to answer all of your Japan real estate related questions. Land, akiyas, investment properties, development, renovations, repairs, just ask.
There was a huge earthquake recently. Talk to me about earthquake insurance.
Yeah, so before we get into earthquake insurance, insurance itself is very, very cheap in Japan. For your typical second-hand single-family home, the akiyas or semi-akiyas that you buy, in most places in Japan, you'll be paying something like 200,000 or 300,000 yen. That's about $2,000 for a 5-year complete disaster and accidental damage insurance policy. That will cover you not only for the price of the property itself, which could be quite cheap, but for the price of a complete new rebuild of a similar sized property on that same land plot. So if you bought a property for, let's say, $50,000, 8 million yen, if it comes down due to a landslide or a typhoon, you will still get 15 or 20 million yen to build a brand new property on that same land plot. Earthquakes specifically are covered at half of that coverage. So whatever the policy stipulates, if the damage is a total loss and due to an earthquake or a tsunami, which is a derivative of an earthquake, then you'll only get half of that amount. But in many cases, that's still going to be more than what you paid for the property. If it is, however, normal wear and tear, that's on you. Insurance doesn't cover that.
4 hidden fees of owning Japanese real estate people underestimate?
So like we've just mentioned, the properties here are not built to last. So people see a beautiful traditional looking countryside Japanese home, but they're not aware that those homes, if they're again past 30, 40, 45 years of age, they would be coming with a annual maintenance bill on average somewhere between $2,000 to $3,000 a year conservatively. Hopefully less, but it could be as much as that. And that will come and go. So you'll have 5-6 years where everything's hunky-dory, and then the roof goes for 3 or 4 million yen, or you have to build reinforce the retaining wall around the property for 7-8 million yen. Termite protection that you have to renew once in a while. Cracks, insulation, foundation cracks, tilting, sinking. All of those things, especially again with the older wooden Japanese home, can come into quite a few $1,000s a year in expenses. Also, if this is a holiday home and you're not in the property at least every other month, you do want to get your garden, your backyard under control. Otherwise, you'll get in trouble with the municipality or with your neighbors or both. So if the grass is overgrown, if you've got trees or bushes that are overhanging public roads or neighboring properties, all of those things in Japan specifically have to be religiously maintained. So that's another few $100s a month that you need to be factoring in depending on the size of the garden. If you've got a septic tank, that's $500-600 a year in annual maintenance. That's probably about it. Nippon Tradings International, your one-stop shop for anything to do with Japanese real estate. We are your proxies, your consultants here in Japan. Whatever sector of the market you're interested in, we've probably done at least a little bit of it, if not a lot. So feel free to hit us with your questions. We're here to help.
I'm ready to buy. How can I work with you in 3 steps?
So first you need to decide if you want us to do everything on your behalf, where you just need to sign a couple of dotted lines at the start and the end of the process, or if you want us consulting, meaning you're comfortable working directly with the Japanese professionals and we can refer you to bilingual Japanese professionals who have worked with foreigners before, but you just want us holding your hand, guiding due diligence, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure you're not making any costly mistakes. The first route with us fully representing you is a few $1,000s normally. The consulting route is a few $100s normally, but you will have to be a bit more hands-on involved, talking to the agents, talking to the lawyers, signing a lot more documents, getting stuff done on your own with us on the sidelines advising and holding your hand. To do either or, all you need to do is set up an appointment with us and we'll get the ball rolling for you. So yeah, any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. This should be available as a video on our page shortly, and we will be happy to answer them for you either live if you'd like to come on the podcast or the YouTube channel yourself, or via the comment section. Looking forward to hearing from you. Oh, and like and subscribe. Yeah, I keep forgetting that.